Hi everybody, Nancy Bover here with Agape and NEXsteps. This week I wanted to address the emotional side of estate planning. Typically we talk about estate planning and we understand the business of estate planning. We talk about the legal documents that make up the pillars of the structure of your estate plan. We talk about making sure that you get proper legal guidance to make sure that you have everybody accounted for appropriately and as much as you can avoid any potential legal challenges to your wishes after you've passed. We talk about making sure that you've got your assets allocated properly, that you've had proper financial planning advice, and that you have named beneficiaries where appropriate to try to keep your assets as much as possible out of probate. We also talk about tax planning, making sure that you've structured things so that you are minimizing the impact of taxes on your estate when you do pass away. But one thing that we haven't addressed is the emotional side of estate planning. And this actually is, I believe, one of the biggest blocks, one of the biggest reasons why people don't take control and do their estate planning. I've mentioned before that in Canada, 50% of Canadians do not have a valid will. Well, the will is the cornerstone, the very basic document that you should have when you're doing your estate plan. Your will is going to make sure that you have named an executor who is going to administer your estate. It makes sure that you allocate your assets there, that you have named guardians if you have any children who are requiring guardianship. It is the very foundational piece of legal documentation that you need to take into consideration when you're doing your estate planning. And even with that, 50% of us don't have that in place. And we can talk all we want about how a lot of times people will postpone that because they think they don't have anything. They don't think they have enough money. They think that they have to be wealthy to estate plan. An estate is just anything that you own. It doesn't mean that you have 25 acres and a mansion. It means your earthly belongings, your earthly possessions, your legacy is what you want to leave behind, and that is so much more than just your assets and your money. It's how you want to be remembered, who you were in this life. So when we take a look at this and why people haven't done it, we have made those excuses that it's because people don't think that they have enough money, or they're just too busy, they'll get around to it, or it's going to take a little bit of time for me to compile my list of assets and get that all put together. And while those may be somewhat valid excuses, I'm going to call them, the reality, I believe, is that it brings up uncomfortable feelings when we talk about that. Because after all, when we are doing our estate planning, we're facing the reality that at some point we're not going to be here. We're all going to die. We all know that. But to know that and to actually act on that takes that step into courage. That's one aspect, is that we're having to face our mortality. But beyond that, we're also taking a look at the fact that we could become incapacitated. None of us wakes up in the morning and says, I think today is the day I'm going to have a stroke. Some people do have a little bit of warning. They know that they have health issues, chronic conditions that are going to put them in a position. But accidents happen every day and they leave people incapacitated. And if you haven't planned, if you haven't got your estate planning in place, you're going to end up leaving people in a mess while they're trying to deal with you. And your wishes probably aren't going to be met because you haven't outlined them anywhere. So let's talk about that emotional side. Let's get past those emotions. I think as difficult as it is to actually face our mortality and face the fact that at any time, any of us could become incapacitated for whatever reason. I think if we can work our way past that and see the fact that we have planned and we have structure and order going forward, I think you'd be surprised to understand what the feeling is of having that load lifted off of your shoulders, off of your loved one's shoulders. You're not going to leave them wondering what you would do. You're not going to leave them having to go into debt while they are trying to get money released to pay bills on your behalf. You're not going to have them guessing, did you want to be cremated? Did you want to have a funeral service? How did you want these things to happen? And remember, you don't have to do this alone. Talk to your family, talk to your loved ones, talk to somebody that you trust, and have them help you walk through the steps. And if you don't have the comfort level or anybody that you can do that, I'm a certified executor advisor. Now, on top of helping with estate administration, I also help people plan for that inevitability. I can work with you to make sure that you've taken into consideration all areas that you need to think about when you're doing your estate planning. So hop over to the website this week, take a look at the article. It'll give you a few more steps. It'll help you understand maybe a little bit more about the emotion. Let's get rid of that amygdala response, that fight or flight that is inborn in us. And let's be practical and let's do what we should be doing to take care of our loved ones and all those that we leave behind. Thanks very much for joining me this week. I look forward to sharing more with you next time. Bye for now.